about this, by the way.
Well-
I know I'm being very autistic about this.
No. It's funny.
Actually, Bake, there's a question that keeps popping up in your chat. I'm not familiar with this. I want to ask it though.
Go ahead.
Did you dox Mike Enoch's mother?
Oh my God. So this is another thing that people blew out of proportion. When you have a public Facebook profile and your information is public, that's not doxing, right? Anybody could go online and look up your picture and see, oh wow, like his mother is a Hillary Clinton supporter. And her name. So I had posted, I believe, her name and that she was a Democrat and a Hillary Clinton supporter, but I didn't post her email address. I didn't post her home address. I didn't post any personal information that would really be a dox. So for people to be accusing me of doxing Mike Enoch's mom, that's a stretch, because when you look at the definition of dox, it takes a lot more than just like a screenshot from a Facebook profile picture and, you know, a picture.
So you're saying if I go through a phone book and I find your phone number, because it's publicly there, I can post it because technically it's there.
Well, public information is public. It's available to the public. I think that people...
The actual definition of dox is hard to obtain information. Obviously, all information is online, but say I'm attacking someone's ideas and I'm like, well, I found his mom's Facebook. Sure, it's on Facebook, but you're connecting the dots to Mike Enoch's mom.
But the way that you presented the information...
Did you show a picture of her, or was it you just said his mom is a Democrat?
I think I took a screenshot of one of her pictures, and like I said, this was months ago. But you can do.
Yeah. I would not like that. If someone posted a picture of my mom,
his mom,
I would
fucking. Are you fucking fucking?
I would explode on you.
It's his mom. Like his mom has nothing to do with his viewpoints at all.
Yeah.
So what was your point of doing that? Like, what was the thing? Like why did you do that in the first place?
Well, because I wanted to prove that a lot of these individuals who call themselves like the right really aren't right-leaning at all. Like a lot of them actually have ties to Obama, to Hillary. Their families are very liberal. Like
my parents are very liberal, and I'm not as liberal as they are. It doesn't mean like because it's his mom. And also his mom might be a sweet lady, and now you're like, there are people who hate Mike Enoch, and I know Mike Enoch. I've had him on my show. He's very intense. He's very alt-right. And now people are going to be like, what if someone's like, well, fuck Mike Enoch, now have his mom's name, and I can't find Mike Enoch, so I'm going to look for his fucking mom now. That's disgusting. It's a horrible, his mom?
Well, look.
How about if someone hated you and posted a picture and your mom's name of your mom, a picture of your mom and her? Oh, I just wanted to prove something.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I'm not.
I'd be super fucking pissed. I think you owe Mike Enoch an apology for that, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm unapologetic. I don't really apologize.
Like,
okay,
even you don't have to agree with
if
Mike.
anyone fucking doxes you, then no one has to apologize. Is that what you're saying? Or your parents? I'm unapologetic. Wow, you're so edgy.
It was information. It was information that was already readily available.
Yeah, whatever. So I'm sure I could find your parents' information online. It's readily available. Why don't we start looking for your parents? That's fucked up, man. Are you fucking no? It's readily everyone's information is readily available if you try and look for it. His mom. Yeah, why don't we attack some poor lady who's probably a fucking sweetheart?
Mike Enoch really liked to play the victim throughout this whole scenario. And what I don't understand is he's so upset about people posting a picture of his mom with Hillary Clinton and pointing out the fact that she's a Hillary supporter and donor. But he and his buddies over at the Right Stuff, they're constantly doxing people. They're constantly harassing people and calling them on the show.
So you did it. Wait. So you did it to teach him a fucking lesson?
Not to teach him a lesson, but
hey, I can put your mother's information up. Didn't you just tell us about how hard it was to be a single woman on the internet and you get all these death threats and all this shit thrown at you? And then you put his fucking mom's picture out. You know what was going to happen. You're not dumb.
But it's not, I'm not giving her number out. I'm not giving her address out.
Here's a picture of this hated guy's mother. Go find her. Are you kidding me?
If someone put a picture of my fucking mom out there, I would go after them.
I never said go after his mother. I said, look, she's
what's gonna happen when you post a picture of his mom.
Hang on, so she posts the picture of fucking Discord. Oh, I was just posting a picture and putting at reply and putting the thing. I didn't know it was deleted. Oh, I'm just posting a picture of his mom. If his mom got fucking killed, it's not my fault. He's posting a fucking picture. Get the fuck out of here.
You can ask me questions.
Cunt. You're a fucking raging cunt.
Woo!
Fuck off.
Shit. Things really heated up in here.
Everyone,
he's getting as hot as an oven.
No. Hey, Jim, why don't we start finding everyone who we hates pictures of their mom and their fucking names? Let's just start doing that.
You have to admit, Laura. I mean, I don't believe you're naive enough to believe that nothing was going to happen if you did that. I get that you're trying to prove a point, but you put her name up and her image up.
I really have like a no apology policy. I don't really.
I'm not asking for an apology. I'm just saying it's a fucking bullshit thing to do, and you knew what you were doing. I don't buy that. Oh well, nothing's going to happen. Same with the Discord thing. You knew what was going to happen. You're not dumb.
This is you asking me questions, and Andy's over here freaking out and going crazy because he doesn't.
Andy gets heated up. I can't control him. He's a madman.
Dodging. Look, I'm not dodging your questions. I'm happy to be here. I'm answering your questions. You may not like my answers, but to answer Bake's question, no, I'm not going to apologize because of their.
Fine. We all know Laura is not apologetic if you post pictures of parents, families, and names. It doesn't matter. It's just there. Right? We could all just start posting family members of people that we don't like. Mike ENOCH is fucking hated, right?
I'm not saying not saying people have to do what I did. I don't think there was anything
wrong. There are people who hate the alt-right, who attack a fucking alt-right member just got stabbed by Antifa the other fucking day. You don't think that like some raging, maybe not you, but some raging fuckhead is going to be like, oh, that's Mike ENOCH's mom. I could finally get to him. And you can take her name, you can put in the fucking, like, on 411, find the address. It's so easy to find doxes. And now they can fucking threaten his mom because of you. Because of you. Like, I'm not sorry because I'm edgy. I'm like, controversial. Oh my God. I was on Rebel. I don't say sorry. You can say sorry when you fuck up, you dummy.
I'm not.
You can.
I'm not going to apologize.
Sorry. Fine. Then all right, everyone. We all know now that apparently it's fine to post pictures of people's families, their names, anything on the phone book. It's all public. Oh yeah, fuck you. No, fuck you, man.
I don't believe that I need to pander to people that promote, falsehoods about me, that promote disgusting things about me, that lie about me. That
of the family. Post pictures of the family.
I could say, Laura, if you posted a picture of my mom or my parents with their political affiliation or whatever, they have. I would be fucking pissed at you. They have absolutely nothing to do with what I do. And after Charlottesville, actually, that's what happened. Not with you, but my parents their information was released and their business was called day after day, saying, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Your son's you're a neo-Nazi and all this stuff. And like, I know how that feels. That fucking sucks.
I know how that
wrench through my family relationship.
You know how it
affects my family. And so you should never bring family into this shit. Like, Mike ENOCH, you don't have to agree with him, but that doesn't reflect what his family believes.
Why I'm not going to apologize, because he did the same thing and he had his people.
It doesn't make it right what you do just because I don't know what he's done.
Baked.
He needs to stop carrying out this like victim complex and saying, "Oh, I would never do that because he's."
It's just his mom. It's just his mom. Well, why is he a victim about revealing his mom's information? And by the way, Baked.
Yeah,
I would like to say one thing.
Yes.
Okay. Like Laura, I honestly knew that you were sketchy before, and then throughout this entire thing, when Lauren came on, I saw your eyes flickering. You start blinking more, looking around. You can't look straight. You're freaking out a little bit. I could tell you're lying. The fucking tires story is a complete mess. I know, chat. I was being autistic about that. Hang on.
I'm not lying. I'm just not really enjoying myself. I'm sitting in this call. It was supposed to be
three or four rebel media fucking employees all said the same thing about you and obviously don't like you, and then this like missing money, and then I went here. I don't know how much it went. Maybe it went to some other employees. So you're lying about that, obviously.
I'm not lying.
And then you post pictures of people's moms, and then you're unapologetic about it. Like how are you and I know there's assholes out there. I'm an asshole too. But how are you in any way a decent fucking human being? Like, tell me one reason why anyone
you have like a selective hearing or selective perception because
hi,
clearly.
Laura. Hello, Laura. How
Oh
are you?
shit.
So you said a number of things here that are false. One, you said I play victim about this. Two, you said I dox other people. I challenge you to name a single person I've doxed. And three, what you haven't mentioned is that your doxing of my mother had nothing to do with getting back at me. I don't know why you would even think that would have anything to do with getting back at me, but it was part of an outrageous, ridiculous conspiracy theory you promoted that Hillary Clinton is promoting the alt-right because my mother is a Democrat that has taken her picture with Hillary Clinton at Democratic events. So you have used that to promote some ridiculous conspiracy theory that, frankly, you would have to be like really stupid to believe that the Democrat Party is funding the alt-right or controlling the alt-right because my mother is friends with Hillary Clinton or has met Hillary Clinton.
It wasn't.
Do you support? Wait, hold on. Do you think that?
Do I think what?
Do you think that the Democrats are behind the alt-right and my mother's connection to Hillary Clinton is proof of that?
No, and that's not what I said.
Okay, but then why did you put? What exactly did you say in the tweet where you posted her picture?
Well, there was a series of tweets, and I was talking about Jason Kessler and his ties to
his ties to my mother.
And I was talking about
my mother. What ties is
as well? Listen,
the person in the alt-right my mother has ties to is me. Okay.
Yeah, and
also, you understand that she is a liberal that wants nothing to do with this political world. She just wants to live her life in peace. Why would you do that to someone like that? Why would you do that to her? If you're mad at me, come at me. Why don't you just come at me? Who have I doxed? You say I dox other people. Who have I doxed? Name one person.
Well, I received probably hundreds of phone calls from people who listen to the right stuff, and they would say, "Oh, I'm calling on behalf of Mike Enoch, and I'm calling," and they would call me like nonstop and send me text messages with my address, send me information, and say, "Oh, we're not going to stop doxing you until you apologize to Mike Enoch." And it was obviously like a coordinated effort on behalf.
What can I say? Like that might happen, but I have never doxed anyone, nor have I encouraged that.
People were telling me on the phone that they were.
First of all, I doubt you received hundreds. Really, hundreds.
There was a point in time where I had to turn my phone off I turned my phone off probably for a couple days and was using a different phone that I have.
I failed to have much sympathy given that you brought my mother into this. I just don't understand if you want to come at me, just come at me. I'm here. I'm right here. I'm here as a target. You can come at me anytime. You can come on my show. You want to argue with me? We're here right now. What points would you like to argue? You want to know what you guys want to hear the most absurd thing she said? When I texted you to politely ask you to remove it because my mother is not involved in any of this. That's not playing a victim. That is making a simple request. My mother is not involved in any of this. I simply requested that you remove her picture from your Twitter, along with any insinuations, which you're denying now because it's so fucking stupid. You don't want to stand by it. That, somehow she's behind the alt-right. But anyway. You said, guys, everyone listen to this. Listen to what you said to me was, I'll remove your mother's picture if you can bring Heather Heyer back to life.
Oh,
that's what she said to me.
I said I would delete the tweets if you could bring Heather Heyer back to life, which
is like retarded. Do you understand how stupid that is? Not regardless of the moral issue of doxing. That's fucking dumb on a high level. Like you're
Mike,
really
Mike,
stupid.
every time they've asked her a question, she goes no, and then proceeds to say the yes answer, but in a long sentence, like you just did again. I didn't know, but I said, and then you just repeated what he just said. You're like the worst liar of all time.
It's funny that I'm not even really mad. It's just you're so fucking absurd. Like it's not, nothing actually happened to my mom. So, thankfully, and my mother actually thinks it's funny. And if anything, it red pilled her on the JQ a little bit, to be perfectly honest with you.
Well, I don't see how, Laura, I don't see how you don't have like the smallest little feeling. You don't feel bad at all for showing a picture of his mom. And I
actually want to get into here. I want to know what you thought you were doing. How did you in what way did it make sense that this was like a good move? This is what I want to understand. Tell us your thought process behind this.
Well, I was just really looking at a lot of these key figures who are behind pretty much the chaos that ensued at Unite the Right, and I wanted to look at their political history.
Okay, so you thought
and I was at Unite the Right. Mike Enoch had nothing to do with any violence or anything in Charlottesville. Absolutely not.
Yeah, but I want to look at these because it gives actual conservatives and people on the right a bad name when you have people who you associate with and who you're friends with, like a lot of these people at Daily Stormer, claiming to be conservatives while they march, saying things like gas the Jews and calling people kikes and doing things.
Who said gas the Jews at Unite the Right?
His name is Alsmador, I believe. He works for Daily Stormer.
Gas the Jew. I mean, he actually might have.
What? I surely was.
But you don't
I didn't say gas the Jews.
family.
I didn't say anything. You know why I didn't say anything? Because the whole fucking thing was shut down by Antifa before we even got a chance. The Antifa rioters and the police shut it down. I didn't we're responsible. We're responsible for the violence. Who? You know who's responsible for the violence? Was Antifa. They're the ones that started everything. Bake knows that as well. We went there. Look, if we were allowed to peacefully assemble in that park, as is our constitutional and legal right, and simply say our piece, everything would have been fine. Heather Heyer, that fat fucking slob, would still be alive if she had decided to simply stay home and let some other people enjoy their constitutional rights.
Well, I mean,
the whole accident there was caused by those people.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was completely Antifa. I didn't even make it to the perimeter of the event. I was trying to walk over to the park, and I was violently attacked. I got chemicals thrown in my face. I got sent to the hospital. And, the last 6 months or so of my life have been fucking living hell. I've had to move addresses, go into hiding, all this stuff. And
did you ever consider that, Baked Alaska, you almost lost your vision, right?
Yeah.
And Laura here is blaming us for the violence. Like, I know you don't agree with us, Laura, and that's fine. No one expects you to. But are you blaming us? Are you blaming us for Antifa attacking? You see Antifa attacks and shuts down your people, too.
You don't even know what
did it to us.
It's funny because you're talking about this now, but you weren't there for Baked Alaska when he was experiencing eye damage in the hospital.
What are you talking about? I called him. I called him when he was in the hospital, see how he was.
Mike did call me, yeah.
I talked to Baked Alaska almost every single day while he was healing. So stop trying to make it sound like I don't care about the fact that there was violence at that rally.
Right, because I don't care if you care or not. The issue is that you're blaming us.
I didn't blame.
Yes,
I didn't blame you for
all.
Literally did. You guys definitely incited violence as well. It's two-sided.
That's bullshit. What? We did not incite
I surely didn't. I did not.
I did not incite a single piece of violence. That is garbage. That is totally wrong.
I can speak for me. I can speak for me and Mike and the other speakers there. None of the other people that were speaking there were absolutely not for anything violent. We were literally there for a free speech rally. In fact, we had the same lineup in DC about a month earlier. It was me, Mike, Richard, and all that. And guess what? There was no violence because the police did their job. Yep. They separated the crowds. Antifa was not able to attack us. We don't go there to fucking have violence. That's fucking ridiculous. And, also there was a state of emergency called, this girl, I'm sad anybody died, but this girl's pushing 4 bills on the weight there, smoking cigarettes. And it was a state of emergency. I mean, things are going to happen. I don't know.
Can I also just add one thing? Because usually when you're looking for someone who's a public figure for journalistic purposes, the person has to be like a public figure, right? Someone just DM me this. His mom is a private citizen. She has more protections than a public figure. So it is doxing. There is no public necessity of that information to be published. And you broke. You broke the Society of Professional Journalists practices. So you actually violated a journalistic practice by revealing Mike's mom, who is not a public figure at all.
That's not so.
Look, you can search my mother's name in Google and get information about her, but that's true of almost anybody.
So people who are not public figures, if you're a journalist, you're not allowed to talk about people on your platform who aren't public figures. That's not true.
So you're fine then. You're fine then. You are saying right now. You are saying
you take a journalism lesson. I'm not going to take a journalism lesson from a guy from a guy who literally just called me a raging cunt because he disagrees with me.
This is not me. This is a buddy of mine who has experience in this, who DM'd me. I'm reading.
Look.
You are a raging cunt. You are. That's a fact.
I think we should let Laura like actually explain her thought process behind revealing my mother's picture. So far, we have Jason Kessler and something else. Let's see where this goes.
Well, you wanted me to apologize. I mean, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I apologize to an individual who has used his platform to berate me and attack me. So, you know, maybe in the future.
I don't care if you apologize to me. I never asked you to apologize to me. I asked you politely over the phone or over a text message. I politely asked you, will you remove the picture of my mother? She's not involved with this. I can post screen caps of the conversation.
Do it.
I was not confrontational.
Do it.
I simply said, look, Laura, I understand. Like, I simply said, please, you know, my first text to you was extremely polite. I simply said, please remove my mother's pictures. She is not involved in any of this stuff. Do you believe that my mother is, wait, hold on. Do you believe that my mother is not involved in any of this? That she is simply an old lady that wants to be left alone, that she's a Democrat, she's voted liberal her whole life, and she's retired and she simply wants to be left alone? Do you believe that?
It very well possibly could be the case.
Very well possibly. What? Okay. I mean, okay.
I mean, I'm just
Never a straight answer.
It's absurd.
Laura, I think if you had any conscience in yourself, you would realize, no matter the beliefs, that bringing family members into these things is completely inappropriate.
Well, his mother, as I had talked about before, his mother obviously is close with Hillary Clinton or knows her in some fashion.
It doesn't matter.
My mother is a lifelong Democrat. She campaigned for Democrats and she has met Hillary on a few occasions at various Democrat Party events. This is not particularly crazy, okay? That is who she is. Now I know have this thing about Hillary. Okay, fair. I'm not a big Hillary fan myself. My mother and I vehemently disagree on politics.
Yeah.
I mean, do you understand that that's possible? That
it is possible. So let me ask you this.
People in the same family can vehemently disagree on politics?
They can. So let me ask you this. Since we're all resurrecting month-old issues, how do you want this to resolve? Like, how can we resolve this?
I don't care. I want you to look stupid for doing this. That's my agenda here. Yeah. I am basically here to make you look stupid, and I think I'm succeeding.
Well, you can try to make.
I mean, you do that well enough yourself, frankly, Daly.
I think that the public has an interest in knowing that
my mother
campaigning for.
Why?
All right, so maybe then the public has
also on my show, like, I talk about the fact without mentioning their names or saying who they are, revealing pictures. I talk about my experience of growing up in a liberal family. I never made a secret that my family was liberal. All my fans know it. All the listeners to my show know it. My friends know it. It's not a secret, but I don't put their pictures and names and stuff out there because it doesn't involve them. You know, the sort of abstract be like, oh yes, my family members are liberal and this is what it's like growing up in a liberal family as a right winger. Sure, that's interesting content, but I'm not going to like directly be like, oh, and here they are. You know,
what bothers me about you is that the things that you say and the things
I don't care what bothers you. I'm sure I bother you a lot.
Stop cutting me off. Can you stop cutting me off?
Free speech.
Okay.
The thing about you the thing that bothers me the most is that the policies and the rhetoric that you promote is totally contrary to your personal lifestyle and your own personal relationships, which is why I did what I did. For example, you constantly say anti-Semitic things about Jews, but if I'm not mistaken, weren't you married to a Jew? I mean,
how does that? Don't post his mom's picture, you dummy.
But do you guys have any principles? Do you guys have any principles?
You can say whatever you could say in America. You could say whatever the fuck you want. That's the point of free speech. The consequence shouldn't be your family's revealed. So if people don't like who you are, maybe we should reveal your family. Is that fine with you? Will you be okay with that?
They already harassed my family. They already harassed my family.
And how did you feel? How did you feel?
I never made a single phone call to her. I never sent her anything. I never posted her address. I never did anything. I could
take a name and look on 411 and find all that fucking shit.
Wait a minute, Andy. That's not even an answer. She didn't even answer you.
I know she never does.
He asked you how it felt, not what you thought about it or what you did. How did it feel when people fucked with your family? Did you like it?
Well, I'm personally not really close with my family. I just heard about it.
You are an idiot.
Andy just
Obviously, I didn't. Obviously, I want people harassing and contacting my family, but I'm not really close with my family members. So for me, like,
and reveal all their information.
So you don't care if your family gets doxxed?
Fucking retard.
I care, but I wasn't as
You care. Okay, you admitted you care if your family got doxxed. So imagine those same feelings of how you care. Well, it may not be a lot, but you do care about your family getting doxxed, and you have to realize that that's how Mike Enoch felt when you doxed his mom.
Interpretation of what doxing means, okay? Like doxing, you've been doxed, I've been doxed. When people post your home address, your numbers, your email.
Private citizen.
Showing a picture of the mom is
somebody that's on Google.
I would not enjoy that.
Everyone's on Google. Everybody's on Google.
How is she? How did anyone hire you? You're so retarded.
Dude, most people you can Google their name and find out something about them, find a picture of them, find their resume, something. You can find out stuff about people with Google. That's how you dox people. I mean, when you
how did Ezra look at you and like interview you and go, yeah, she's all right. You're like the dimmest person I've ever talked to, ever. And I've talked to a lot of fucking retarded people.
Issue that we're not going to agree on, and that makes me dim. And we haven't talked about
everything you've
said. It's like I find it funny. Like you have a lot of problems with me, right? And that's understandable. You don't like my rhetoric. You think I'm a hypocrite because of my personal relationships. You know, I can't talk obviously legally. I'm prevented from talking about my ex-wife, so that's off the table. My parents are liberal, and I am not a liberal. Like, is that really so shocking? Does that make me some kind of crazy hypocrite? Whatever. You can think whatever. You should just attack me. I mean, look, what happened to my mother was nothing. So it just, in the end, it was sort of funny. Like she just laughed about it. But it's like, it's just like, I'm actually a lot more interested in where you arrived at this place where you figured like this was really going to be like a blow that you were striking. And here, I'm going to put the picture of this old lady online, and that's going to show the alt-right somehow. Like,
it's not that I thought that it was going to necessarily cause a major blow for the alt-right. And, you know, my intention was to show, look at a lot of these people who they use this rhetoric, and the people that they associate with, and the people that they love.
My mother.
The people that they love, and the people that they're.
Yes, I love my mother. I love my mother, even though she's a liberal. Yes.
You sound like a villain in a movie. The people that they love.
What, am I supposed to love my mother, even though she's a liberal?
How dare you love your mother?
You won't let me finish what I'm saying. You're cutting everything off, and in a minute I'm just going to hang up because you won't let me get a fucking word in. I mean, honestly, Baked, this was supposed to be a conversation, and neither of these assholes are letting me get a word in.
Okay, let Laura speak.
Can I actually say something? Can I actually
let Laura speak? Let Laura speak. Go ahead.
I mean, really.
Go ahead.
Not what we agreed to. What I'm saying is, when you love people and when you care about people, or they're your mother or they're whether they're your wife, it strikes me as very hypocritical and disingenuous to be saying things that are so hateful that would align with those individuals who are in your life. So, for example, a lot of the things you say about Jews, like, and I know you can't talk about your ex-wife, but why would you be perpetuating so much hateful rhetoric towards Jewish people when you married a Jew? Why would you be saying some of the things you're saying about these left-wing protesters and call them fat slobs who are Hillary supporters when your mother is in fact a Hillary supporter and a Democrat herself? Like, do you think about the personal impact or the hypocrisy when people finally like realize these facts about your life and these things that are personal and dear to you? Do you realize how that makes your own personal political stances and the stuff that you say sound completely disingenuous and just fake? It's just, that's why I was very interested in this, because I'm thinking to myself, how does he say these things? And how do people take him seriously when he's literally married to a Jew and his mother is literally pictured with Hillary Clinton?
Free speech. Who cares? Free speech.
All right. I mean, first of all, the mother thing is interesting. As you know, I am legally forbidden from talking about my ex-wife. And first of all, you know, whatever my relationships are, like, the truth is the truth. I think Jews have a lot of power. I think Jews are pursuing an agenda that is bad for white people. I think that Jewish power is bad for white people. I mean, whatever my relationship is, that remains true. Now, you could call that hateful. You could just say, I'm criticizing people in power. That's how I see it. I see it that I'm criticizing people in power. I see Jewish power. I see Jewish, heavy Jewish influence over particularly U.S. foreign policy, over U.S. immigration policy. Both of those things I think are negative. And I'm going to criticize it. The fact that I had a relationship with a woman who was half Jewish does not really in any way mean that that point is any less valid. I was born to liberal parents. Wow. So were a lot of people. A lot of people that come to the alt-right were born to liberal parents. That's part of why they moved over, because they don't agree with their parents. It is possible to love people that you don't agree with about politics.
And I don't agree with you, Mike. I don't agree with you at all, but I'm not going to call you. I had a conversation. I was on your show. You were on my show. I don't agree with you, but that's fine. We could still chat. I hope you don't review my parents.
Realm. And that's the point. We're all chatting and we're all having a conversation. And this is the first time I've really had a conversation with a person. Okay. And
well, I think it's good. I think it's good to have conversations.
And I don't understand how you have your own show and when you can't even have a civilized conversation with people who you disagree with.
My last few episodes have been number 5 and up trending, and my one last week was number 1. I'm very calm and civilized.
Okay.
Oh, well, let's have a conversation about politics. Let's have a conversation about politics then.
You attacked someone's family. That's different. This is not politics or discussion. You attacked someone's family, so fuck you.
Of me coming on today was not supposed to be the whole point of this episode, if you recall, was not a conversation between Laura and Mike Enoch.
I think that was interesting content, though.
And Laura, I mean, this is interesting, and we have a ton of viewers rising up. But
for him to say that I'm stupid and that I'm not answering questions, I just want to make it very clear that the way that you and Baked Alaska presented this to me a week ago was,
I did not invite Mike Enoch on today. Just to be clear, I don't know who.
I mean, I'll leave if you want. I just wanted to get.
I think this is interesting.
I don't need to leave. I don't want to leave.
Baked. I'm very sorry.
Whatever Laura's comfortable with. I think this is interesting.
I was supposed to moderate. I apologize. I didn't know how deep this went. And I have to just call you out, Laura, because you're a bad person and you won't even apologize for it, which makes you even worse.
Then call me. You can think I'm a bad person because of this, but I don't think Baked Alaska thinks I'm a bad person.
Well, I mean, let me just ask you.
I think this issue, I think you're a bad person in this area, definitely. And I think you do owe Mike an apology. And there's a bunch of super chats and things that are saying, ask Laura if she would think it's okay if Enoch tweeted out a picture of your mother with her political affiliation on his Twitter. Would you be okay with that?
Well, I'll just tell you now, my mother is a conservative. My mother is.
Would you be okay? Would you be okay with Mike tweeting out a picture of your mother and saying things about her? Would you be
political affiliation?
Would you want? It's just a yes or no. Give me a yes.
Mind as long as people weren't harassing and contacting and posting and emailing.
But that's obviously going to happen, right? That's obviously going to happen.
Not necessarily, no.
So you think if you tweet out? Oh, sorry. So Jim, you're a little quiet over there. You want to answer this?
Oh no, I'm just enjoying the conversation. Don't mind me. There are too many cooks in the kitchen. You all go for it, and I'm just going to eat some popcorn over here.
I think it's strange that you think that there's something weird about people disagreeing with their family on politics. Like this is a normal thing.
I just find you to be very stuff that you
don't like my views. I understand that.
I don't have a problem with you can think whatever you want. I mean, look, I think that we really had a negative first encounter, and Bates will tell you I'm a person, I'm open to having conversations with anybody regardless of whether
it didn't have to be negative. I mean, I was polite. I said, please remove the picture of my mother. She's not involved in any of this stuff. That was my approach to you. That was the first thing I ever said to you.
Well,
and you got defensive immediately and angry immediately. And I was actually puzzled because I was like, I just didn't understand what you were doing. Like why you did that. Like why you thought that was somehow, I mean, like I said, on my show, I talk about having a liberal family as a right winger. Like that's an interesting thing to talk about. It's an interesting dynamic.
Yes, but I also think that your dynamic and the way that you people can have different political opinions. Of course, their family members. My family doesn't agree with everything that I say either, but I do find it to be very interesting. Like it's not just your family, it's like the person you chose to marry as well. Like and obviously you didn't want that information coming out, because as I recall, like somebody had posted that information online, and it caused a lot of your own supporters to kind of withdraw their support from you after finding out that you did in fact marry a Jew. And so what I'm asking you is, don't you think it's intellectually dishonest of you to have these relationships with individuals in your life, not just your immediate family, right? Don't you think it's intellectually dishonest for you to have those relationships and then also be promoting this rhetoric that's like anti those individuals or the principles that those people stand for?
Well, again, this is like an area where I'm legally forbidden from really discussing it.
But you can just say yes or no, because there's a reason why you hid that from supporters in your.
I hid it, but the same reason I hid my own identity. You understand? My own identity was hidden until everything came out. And I hid that because I knew that would mean I would lose my job. I would lose a lot of stuff. I mean, you can think that, like, you have to understand, when you hold pro-white views, you are essentially socially repressed on a very high level. And so
I'm pro-white. I'm Jewish, but I'm also pro-white.
All right. Well, that's great. That's great. But I'm saying, like, when you hold our view, when you express pro-white views, when you're critical of Jewish power, I think that's an even more important thing. Although just being pro-white is often enough.
Stuff in the past, I don't.
You're I think that. I mean, come on, like, you're not going to get the same kind of heat for criticizing Jews as a goy is.
I've spoken out about this as well. Like, maybe if you actually like looked at some of the interviews I've done in the past.
Okay. No, I mean, that's great. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you criticize Jewish power. My point is that people on the alt-right face a high degree of social repression for their views. That is why oftentimes they hide their identities, which I did until I was doxxed, and I realized I could no longer go on hiding my identity, and I just let everything come out.
All right. And look, I don't think that
I don't see how it's intellectually dishonest. It's actually intellectually honest that despite whatever relationships I had, I was able to see my way through to what I consider to be a correct and accurate worldview. Again, I could be there is a, what is true, regardless of who I have a relationship with or who my mother is. What is true is true. I don't like Hillary. I, in fact, think Hillary is most likely a criminal, probably has committed several felonies. Yet I don't really say this to my mother. Well, sometimes we go at each other. She really dislikes Donald Trump, and I like Trump, and we go at it a few times, but it's not really that big of a deal. Same thing for other people in my family. Typically, the liberal is the one who has a very difficult time with someone who's a Trump supporter. And I understand my views cross a boundary that go beyond simple Trump supporter. I'm not simply trying to present myself as I'm just a Trump supporter. It's like, it is difficult. And a lot of people on the alt-right have these struggles because we do have these views that are very pro-white and are critical of Jewish power and are critical of the idea of multiculturalism, are critical of multiracialism. We do believe that white people have a moral right to their own living space. And this is a highly socially repressed view. And so, we face struggles. People have relationships with people that disagree. People have threats of doxing. People have threats of harassment. People have to be very careful. And that's just the reality that we face. And you can say we're playing victim. On some level, it's like, are you playing victim if you're actually getting attacked? I don't know. But it's just something that we have to face. It's a struggle that we have to deal with. And I don't think it makes us hypocrites to have relationships in our lives with people that disagree.
Yeah, and look, I want to make it very clear. I'm not saying that you promoting those values and your ideas makes you and complaining that people don't agree with you. I'm not saying that is, you playing victim. But when people show up to this rally, not necessarily you, but other individuals carrying Nazi flags, and they are chanting things like "gas the kites now," and people were heard using the N-word on camera, screaming racial slurs at people. That is inciting violence. You're going to create a violent situation.
Wait. Saying a racial slur is not inciting violence. That's
okay, but do you realize though? Wait, I mean, I understand what you're saying. This was
decided by the Supreme Court. Hate speech is free. There's no such thing as hate speech. If you're saying "Hey, I want to fucking kill someone," then that would be inciting violence.
Wait, Baked, you guys are arguing too much. There was one thing she kind of glossed over. What's the N-word? What word are we talking about?
I believe that's a nigger.
I actually wouldn't
That
say
word.
it because you don't want to get a channel banned.
Laura,
but,
what's the N word? What N word are we talking about?
Say it. I don't want to say the N word because I
just said it. I'm saying it in context. People are probably going to clip that out, but that's the word.
I'd like to make a point about the incitement of violence, though, because say that, like, okay, some people said things that, well, I'm sure that maybe somebody said gas the Jews and someone probably said, you know, nigger or whatever. I'm sure that this happened. You probably heard it. I'm sure that I don't doubt it. However, you have to understand that the incitement of violence was merely the fact that we even planned to show up at all, because these people came with like chemicals in bottles. They came to do violence. Like someone, the guy that threw the bleach, or wait, hold on, let me finish. The guy that threw the bleach at Baked did not like to hear somebody say nigger and like go home and get bleach and throw it in his face. He brought that with him with malice aforethought, with the intent to permanently injure somebody in a very real way, and he did it. He was not incited by any speech that went on. He was planned and premeditated a fucking terrorist attack. Okay,
That's right.
He planned and premeditated a political terrorist attack.
And I'm glad you're bringing that up, Mike. I mean, how many reporters have even fucking talked about my story?
Totally ignored.
They buried it. I was actually listening to one of your shows, Mike, the other day, and you guys, it might have been a couple months ago, they were talking about this. When have you ever heard of someone? I was literally holding a selfie stick. I was not talking to anybody. I was not arguing with anyone. I wasn't in some disagreement. I was literally walking, and I got chemicals thrown in my fucking face, sent to the hospital. And where's one news story? Where's one? Show me one. And I'm even calling out the right wing. Fuck these fake right-wing places like Infowars.com. Nobody stood up for me. And sure, you could say, you know, you said a tweet about me. You know, some of my friends did. But there was not one publication, right or left, that stood up for me and said, look, this dude got fucking attacked for holding a selfie stick, for just live streaming and walking to a free speech event. And that is disgraceful on both sides. And hopefully one day, some reporter, somebody will talk about this attack. And you know what actually happened was the exact reverse happened. Not only did they not talk about it, the entire media called me a fucking Nazi and came after my parents. They made my life a fucking living hell. And they said, I hope you fucking die. I hope Mashable.com said, finally Baked Alaska gets banned from Twitter. They deplatformed my entire life for me getting attacked. You know, YouTube tried to ban me. They said I was harassment and bullying. I got attacked. And so I hope, you know, we're getting numbers. We're number 3. This is the number 3 trending video on all of YouTube worldwide right now. And that is amazing. Thank you, everyone. Keep thumbs upping this video, sharing this video, getting it out there. We are making a wave in 2018. But I hope finally my story will be able to, I don't need to be the fucking victim. Just don't destroy my life because I got attacked.
Like, you were a victim of an attack. That's just a fact. So
and by the way, I would like to make this clear too, really quick, just for my sake. Sorry, guys, I'll let you talk. And thank you for being civil. Both of you, Laura and Mike, are being awesome. But also, I did not put out any fundraisers for me getting attacked. So I specifically did this. There's rumors out there. People are like, oh, you faked getting mazed for money and all that. I specifically paid all my hospital bills myself. And I'm back in Alaska chilling at my parents' house because I frankly don't have a lot of money. I'll be honest, because I'm paying all those bills myself. And I didn't put out a GoFundMe or any of that shit because I knew what would happen. I knew people would say, oh, you faked it. And so I took all those things away so it would just be completely clean. And I was still completely trashed.
Well, as you know, my co-host Alex is an EMT. He has emergency medical training, and he treated you, and he will be happy to use his actual field medical training to say, no, this guy was absolutely had a caustic substance thrown in his eyes. There's no question about it. And also you have your doctor bills. And I was on this stream, or no, I was on Andy's stream, I think a week and a half ago or so, and somebody was insinuating the same thing, and I was like, "Dude, do you want to see? I'm sure the hospital has records, etc." So,
bro,
like,
I wish it was fake. I really do. I mean, a second camera angle came out, luckily, because the first angle they said they couldn't see the hand, and another camera angle came out.
Yeah, and you know, like I think that for people on the left that want to keep up this facade that there is not a violent, premeditated violent aspect to Antifa, this blows up their ability to keep pretending that, so they have to pretend, oh yeah, Baked Alaska was faking it. I don't even really believe that guy bought that. I think he was just kind of.
Oh no, they didn't believe that at all.
With like,
they do that to discredit us. Like there's recent stories. They're like, one of Bake's bodyguards was giving him a fake perfume bottle to spray in his face, and they're doing, there's all sorts of conspiracy theories were coming out about me that were completely false. And these people, Vic Berger and all these disgusting cockroaches, they know that. They do it to discredit what we're doing.
For the record, the record.
Go ahead, Laura.
I just want to make it clear. I agreed with you on that. And I want you to know, and I want Mike to know as well, that I thought it was really horrible what happened to you at that event. And I called you every single day. I called you when you were going to your doctor's appointments, checking up on you, making sure how you were doing, because I thought that what happened to you was horrible. And
I appreciate that. That's true. I appreciate that.
I'm not saying that you people like you or people who were there deserve to get attacked, but what I'm saying is that I do think that it is a little unrealistic for other people there to just simply blame everything on Antifa when, if you're going to.
I like you legitimately broke up, at least on my end. So
what I'm saying is, I think that violence, whether it's coming from people on the right or people on Antifa, as it usually does, all violence is wrong. But the thing is obviously people were trying to portray people on the right as being more violent as Antifa, which was simply not the truth, because they were attacking people like Bake. They were using bats. They were breaking glass. They were doing things that were more violent than the alt-right.
If Antifa never showed up, there would be zero violence. Can you agree with that?
There would have been no violence.
Zero.
Or if they simply showed up, if they had
separated the crowds
and kept themselves separate and did a peaceful protest, because we do. The thing is, here's the thing: the alt-right are not fucking retards. Okay, we understand that kind of spectacle doesn't help us. We don't want to go. We want to go out and be able to speak our minds. We don't want to go out and cause a violent scene. There's no way that helps us. I mean, all those portrayals are cynical portrayals. The reporters that were there know the truth. They were in there with the liberal protesters.
Yeah, that guy just got arrested again. Daquan Johnson or whatever.
DeAndre Harris, the supposed victim of this horrible beating. Well, looks like we have the footage of him smacking a guy in the face. A good friend of mine, I don't know if I should mention his name or not, but he's a friend of mine, was smacked in the face. He had his Confederate flag grabbed by DeAndre's friend. He pulled him in close, and DeAndre hit him in the face with a mag light seconds before that beating happened. And you'll notice if you watch the tape that those men, as soon as he was on the ground, they pulled each other back, and they're like, all right, enough. And then they told him to run away, and he did. So, and they're the ones that are being charged, and DeAndre is getting off. This is a political.
And by the way,
that town is run by communists.
That's right.
That town is run by communists.
Did you hear or see a single headline before President Trump spoke out that said anything about Antifa violence or about communist violence? Nobody knew anything. I was getting calls from my friends disowning me and being like, what the fuck are you doing at this KKK rally, this Nazi rally? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm in Charlottesville. This is not a KKK rally. If someone said, hey, Baked, come speak at a KKK rally, I would say, no, fuck no, that's retarded. The KKK is retarded. Why would I do that? That's not what it was. And the media
there
completely
was a KKK rally a few weeks prior, and we weren't there. We did not take part in it.
I had no idea about that. But the point is, you can't control everyone who's going to show up. But the media was ready to do a smear job, that without a doubt. Why didn't they say riot breaks out in Charlottesville? Why was it only on the right wing?
Like the one dude with with the Nazi flag that was still
still had the creases on it
from taking it out of the packaging, and nobody knew the guy. I was asking people anybody know that guy? Who's that guy with? Nobody knew the guy. So come on. And you think they wouldn't do this? I mean, come on. These are people that are like willing to throw acid, throwing bricks, throwing bottles. Like, of course, they would plant the guy in the crowd with a flag to make everyone look.
And by the way, if your car gets hit with bats, and we have video footage of that Dodge Challenger getting hit with bats and all sorts of things before he pulled out. If I'm in a crowd of masked people, communists, hitting my car with fucking bats, you better believe I'm going to hit that fucking gas pedal, because it's either you or them at that point.
And on top of that, this is a known tactic that Antifa uses. We see this at Black Lives Matter protests when the people would stop traffic and surround cars. And they're doing, in this case, they were doing it to this kid.
Remember when they pulled the grandpa out of the car on the day that Trump, the election, they just started beating a white guy, and they're like, fuck you, dude. Remember that?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a known tactic. Like, they block traffic, they surround cars, and then they cry, talk about playing victim, then they cry foul when something bad happens to them. I mean, like, look, if you block traffic, and the other thing is, if you actually look at the situation at that intersection, there were 2 other cars stopped that he hit. He ran into 2 other cars that he was behind, and those cars were totally surrounded with protesters. Why was that happening? Well, because that's what they were doing, that thing where they block traffic and surround cars. And in this case, they did it at the same time that they were attacking another car, and it created this dangerous situation. I mean, like, I expected in a just country, James Fields would be acquitted.
Quick question.